So yesterday when I posted my video, or about 2 days ago, I got a comment from a fellow YouTuber named Javal the Doomer. It was a question on my video titled Life Feels Like a Nightmare. And basically, here's what he said. I'm not going to read the entire thing, I'm just going to read the main point, the main question. He said, I wonder why you're so against two awakened people discussing mutual hobbies and interests. He says, if person A likes a game and person B likes a game, and has played the game, what's wrong with discussing it? In the end, all conversations are pointless, so what's the harm in having a conversation about something that could be fun and relatable? But then he goes on to say, are you saying that no conversations interest you? And for some context, basically, if you watch my videos, if you watch my channel, you kind of know how I feel about talking to people in this community and just talking about things. It doesn't matter what those things are. It could be hobbies, it could be pretty much any hobby, pretty much anything. Small talk, philosophical talk. And I made it very clear I don't really have any interest in talking about things, even if they're my hobbies. And that's something that I'm genuinely being serious about. I mean, I get it, like, it doesn't make sense to hear someone say, I love this hobby, but I don't want to talk about it with other people. Most of us, we want to talk about our hobbies with other people. We want to have people know what we like. And I used to be like that. But I can explain how I got to the point where I'm at today. Basically, what I'm about to say is also what I responded to him with. The reason why I don't really have an interest in talking about these things is because my interest in my hobbies, it's a more personal, internally driven thing, you know? And let me give you guys some scenarios that I've been in the past. In high school, when I watched like anime and stuff, because I was a big anime fan back then, like legit, that was the reason why I was still alive sometimes. It was my favorite hobby besides video games. And I would see people in school and we would talk about, yo, have you seen this anime? Have you seen that anime? Have you played this video game? Have you played that video game? And, you know, that sounds normal. Just people having a chat about what they like. But I never really got too much joy out of doing this. Whenever I had these conversations, it was more so about being validated, being seen, being thought of a certain way, like, yo, that dude is cool, he likes anime, he likes this anime, he's cool. And it was less about what we're actually talking about. And these anime that we talked about, these video games, these things, you know, I really loved them, I really did. It hit me harder in the feels and the emotions than anything ever has. But again, when it came to actually talking about it, number one, again, it was less about the actual thing and more about just being validated. This is why people in high school, they joined clubs, like joining a book club, joining an anime club. The primary thing when it comes to hobbies and talking about hobbies, I think that the connection that stems from talking about it, it becomes the top priority. So therefore, it becomes less about the actual thing. Like, has anyone ever been in high school and just, you see this one person that you don't know much about, but it turns out you have a common hobby? And then you're like, oh wow, you like this hobby too? I like it too. And then you guys become friends. And obviously over time, it just, you know, it goes way past that one hobby. It becomes more, obviously, because you're not just going to keep talking about one hobby. The way I see it, talking about hobbies, it's less about the hobby and more as a tool, as a bridge to build connections. You might be like, wait, what's the problem with that? Well, the problem is that I can see what the real purpose is. I'm aware enough to see that talking about hobbies, it's not even about the hobby. Since I know it just stems from wanting to feel validated, it feels kind of fake in a way. And not only that, but my experience with said hobby, it's a more internal, personal thing, and the enjoyment I get out of it compared to talking about it. Huge gap. It's an abyss. Insanely huge gap. So I'll give you guys an example. I'm a metalhead. I love metal music. My favorite band of all time is Black Sabbath. Heck, I can name pretty much every single album, and I'm not gonna lie, I can name like, I don't know about every single song, but pretty much most songs I can name. And the reason why I enjoy this music, the reason why I love this band, well obviously it's because it's awesome music. And it hits my soul in a way that other types of music just cannot do. But do you notice how that's more internal? So basically, the few times I did try to talk about this band, it just feels so hollow in comparison to just putting on headphones and just listening. Like, yo, what's your favorite song? Yo, did you hear that guitar riff? That guitar riff was awesome. Like, like there's no point in me just talking about that. Like, I don't care. I don't care about what your favorite song is. I don't care about you saying, wow, his vocals are awesome. Even though they are, I'd rather just listen to it than hear people talk about it. So hobbies for me are more internal. And this is why I love skateboarding. It's just me, the board, the concrete, and if I want to try some tricks or whatever, it's just me. I don't do it with other people. Other people, they do it with others, they do it with friends. I'm not like that. My hobbies are not a social bridge. I don't use hobbies to communicate. I use hobbies because they hit my soul. They make me feel good. And talking to human beings, it just doesn't do that for me. For example, right, if we want to talk about anime, my favorite anime of all time is Black Lagoon. I love that show. Even though I don't even watch anime anymore like that, I love Black Lagoon. If you want to talk about movies, my favorite movie of all time is Rush Hour. Rush Hour 1 and 2. I love those movies, man. But talking about it, I just don't really see the point. And I know this is kind of a hot take. Everyone wants to be like, yo guys, I love this thing, I want to talk about it all the time. But, that right there just proves that it's more about feeling validated than the actual thing. And with the whole connections thing, that's a completely different topic. I don't even care about making friends. I don't care about that. I don't care about socializing. But, again, that's a completely different topic. So when it comes to my hobbies, I keep it to myself, man. And another thing I responded to him with was, if my mind is focused on one thing, primarily it's focused on the absurd. How stupid this life is, how pathetic this world is, the fact that everything revolves around money, the fact that there's so much suffering in the world, that's primarily what my mind focuses on. Therefore, if someone wants to talk to me about whatever, it could even be something I like. Like you could be like, yo, I love Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, Dio, I love Black Sabbath, man. Not only do I not really care to talk about it to begin with, but if my mind is focused on the absurd, there's this clash between my external self and, my external environment compared to my internal self. If someone's talking to me about something that has nothing to do with what I'm thinking about, has nothing to do with my mental priorities, then I'm not going to care. It doesn't even matter what it is. I'm not going to care at all. And it's not even just about me thinking about the absurd. It could be about anything. If I'm thinking about paying bills because the bill is due, then that's going to be on my mind. So if you come up to me talking about, yo, League of Legends is awesome, I don't care. And I can't pretend like I care. So I'm only going to be able to respond in a shallow manner. And I'll give you guys an example of this. I have a brother. He loves video games. He loves anime. He loves all that stuff. And he does this thing where he constantly talks about his hobbies. It gets to the point where it's annoying. And sometimes he just randomly talks to me about video games, and I'm like, man, it's cool, but I could be spiraling. And dude just keeps talking about that video game. A video game that I probably don't even have interest in, because I'm not even that much of a gamer. So it creates this very uncomfortable feeling for me. Someone is talking to me about a video game, while my mind could be wrestling with topics such as the absurd, the meaning of life, or I should say the lack of meaning. I could be thinking about how this world, this system, it makes people suffer on purpose. So a dude coming up to me talking about, yo, I love video games, man. Do you see this video game right here? To me, that makes me feel like complete garbage. It's just, I don't even know how to explain it, but when people do this to me, it's not that I dislike these people, and heck, it could be things I like again, but it feels so soul-crushing. I try to give hints that, I'm not really interested, but most people, they just keep going. And this goes for basically all conversations, not even just hobbies. Let's just say two people are engaged in a conversation, but right before they started that conversation, one of them's thinking about paying bills, and the other one is thinking about, how am I going to feed my kids? And then they start talking. They have to set the main priority aside just to engage in something that they probably don't want to engage in. You see, I'm not wired to do that. I'm not wired to set aside my priorities and what I'm thinking about just to have a talk that doesn't do anything for me. Other people can do it, but that's not me. And to be honest, I feel like pretty much everyone watching this video, I feel like you guys all know what I'm talking about. You don't even have to be awakened to think like this. It's just that we're so focused on pretending, and I can't pretend. That's what we're taught to do, people going up to each other talking about how's the weather, when both of them are literally dying inside. It's absurd. But I'm choosing to not engage in that absurdity. I choose authenticity. I choose honesty. So yeah, that's basically why I don't really care about talking about hobbies. I think we already all know that we're always putting on masks. People, they try so hard to take off that mask, but no, you're not taking it off. All you're doing is taking pieces of that mask off. And to me, what's the point of doing that? What's the point? You're never going to be able to take it off. So why even bother trying to learn about what I'm into, talking about what I like and what I am as a person, who I am as a person? There's no point, especially since all of these friendships are just going to come to an end. Can any of you think about a friend you've had for, heck, even 5 years? I can't think of any. Most of them disappear. Most of them go away. And, some of you might be like, wow, this is kind of a sad mindset. It's not sad. I'm just done pretending. And honestly, it's better this way. Life is a solo video game. It's not a co-op video game. The system makes you think that it's a co-op video game, but that's not the case. And this reminds me of something, one of my old friends said to me a long time ago. If you guys don't know me, I'm from Philly, so it's a pretty big city, right? And so was my friend from back then. And they told me that before they had friends, they would get jealous when they go outside because pretty much anywhere you go outside, there's going to be friend groups. There's going to be people just eating out, in a group outside, like outside dining. There's going to be people just, always with a group, especially on Friday nights, Saturday nights, Sunday nights. And this is pretty much everywhere, you see it everywhere. And my friend told me that, before they had friends, they were kind of envious. They're like, it hurts to see all these people just going out and having fun with each other, and I'm just here alone, doing nothing, always alone. And I'm not gonna lie, that used to be me. But that was pre-awakening. Post-awakening, I completely lost that feeling of envy. This is an illusion. Most of it is small talk. Most of these friends you see, in a few years they're not even going to be friends. Most of the time it's just, doing activities, spending money, and they're trying to basically throw away what's on their brain and set it to the side. And I can't do that. I just can't do that. But at the same time, that's what talking to people entails. And even if you try to be vulnerable and tell people what you're really like, as I said, this is not a co-op video game, guys. The reason it's so exhausting to hear your friends rant about their lives is because it's not your story. It doesn't even matter how bad that person's circumstances is. These people just rant about things like, my girlfriend cheated on me, my job sucks. And I can't pretend to care about that stuff, man. And let's just say you're really depressed, and you tell me that you're depressed. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I do not care, because I have my own problems to worry about. And I'm not even trying to sound like a bad person. This is just honesty. It's the same reason why when a homeless man comes up to you and asks you for money and gives you a story about how he's homeless and has nothing, most of you just walk away. Most of you just say, nah, I don't have anything, and then you don't even care about that afterwards. You don't think about it. It's the same logic. I don't care if someone has depression, because guess what? There's absolutely nothing I could say that could help you. Nothing. I don't care if you don't like your job. There's nothing I could say to help you. And any attempt to try to help someone with words, it's utterly pointless, guys. Life is a maze you have to navigate yourself. That's how I see it. And I'm speaking from experience. No one has helped me in my darkest moments. No one saved me from despair. So what I'm doing with life, I'm staring at the despair and absurd right in the face, by myself. Because for the third time, as I said, life is a single-player game. You guys think it's co-op, but no, that's not the case. You guys are trying to face the despair and absurd with other people. Trying to face this with other people, it's like fighting a boss battle with two AI NPCs, and both of those AI NPCs are level 1, while you're level 100, and the boss is also level 100. And your two AI NPC teammates, they obviously can't do anything because they're level 1. I mean, dude, they probably don't even have health potions to give you. But you know, we live in a world where people think that life ain't worth living if you don't have people. And that's not the case.